This is the Omnitype Bauer 2, the second iteration of the original Bauer keyboard that made headlines in 2019 as a holy grail board. Recently, I got my hands on an A-stock first come first serve extra from Omnitype for the black brass colorway, so I'm going to go over my build experience and thoughts and see if it still holds up to the hype it once had. So the Bauer shipped in a really nice mecha matte keyboard case from Omnitype. The case itself has a really nice build quality with rubber zippers featuring the Omnitype logo and a nice handle to hold on to. Inside the case we get a microfiber cloth, the black aluminum plate, the PCB, some neoprene gaskets, rubber feet, taco bumpers for alignment, and of course the case itself. So building this board was actually incredibly easy. Stabilizers go on the PCB, neoprene gaskets go on the plate, followed by the switches, plate goes onto the PCB, daughter board gets screwed into the case, taco bumpers slide right on, and the whole thing gets inserted into the bottom case. Then the top housing slides right on and is screwed in from the back. Now, way back when this board was first run, brass units were going for about $560, but the second Bauer run went for $715, which is how much I paid for this unit as well. That's nearly a 30% markup from the board's very first run, which is a lot of money. So for that money, how's the quality? It's pretty good. The top case has a smooth black anodization to it, has a very premium feel to the anodization with a really nice satin-like smoothness, which is actually a little bit different from some of my other anodized boards in my collection. Then of course we also have that brass booty which has a very even finish. I think it is uncoated here, so some natural patina may develop over time, though I do plan on sending this over to Knee Deep Patinas for some treatment when commissions reopen, which is also the reason why I chose not to put the rubber feet on just yet. This board does have some gorgeous design elements that I am personally a huge fan of. We get some beautiful curves along the front and back, which helps to highlight the brass bottom, which I think contrasts very nicely against that black top, but is pretty good enough nowadays for a fairly hefty price tag. I don't know, for about $400 you have something like the Owlab Spring, which is an equally premium feeling leaf spring board with gorgeous accents and a huge rose gold brass weight. But okay, how does it sound and feel? Well, for a gasket isolation mount, this board does have a noticeably stiff feel with practically no flex to it. Now, the lack of flex is definitely not necessarily a bad thing. To me, it has the stiffer feel of a top mount-like board. I do wonder if pour-on gaskets were used over neoprene, if it would maybe add a little bit more bounce. Speaking of the gaskets, one thing I was not a fan of in this build process was that there was not really any placement indicators for where you should put your gaskets. It did seem like you just sort of needed to put your gaskets down in the spots indicated, and there wasn't any sort of like precise fitment to the gaskets. Now for my build, I went with lubed and filmed Gateron Oil King switches on the aluminum plate and used Staebies V2 for my stabs. I topped off the build with GMK Botanical, and here's what it sounds like to type on. Now overall, I'm a huge fan of the sound. I think this is definitely a clackier sounding board with these switches. I think the alphas and mods sound pretty equal and balanced, but the spacebar is just a touch hollow. I'm surprised the board itself isn't more hollow given the full brass bottom, but that might be because it sits pretty close to the bottom of the case once fully built. So for some final thoughts, I think the Bauer is a great board, but I'm not sure if the $715 price tag is justifiable in today's day and age, given the quality of what we can find in other boards, like the Owlab Spring for example, at just $400. Now I think this board would have been much more justifiable at its original price point, but that being said, I'm not unhappy that this one is now in my collection. Anyways, thanks for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more keyboard and tech focused content coming soon to the channel. As always, I'll see you in the next one.